The distance measured exactly 1 inch. His target weighed 250 pounds of pure muscle, a former NFL linebacker who'd been rejected by the league for excessive aggression. When Bruce Lee carefully explained the ancient Wing Chun technique he was about to demonstrate, the massive man threw his head back and laughed with genuine amusement. Generate meaningful power from a single inch of travel? Impossible. Physics simply didn't allow for such a thing. Bruce Lee smiled quietly and said just one word: watch. What transpired in the next few seconds would defy every conventional understanding of biomechanics. The 250-pound former professional athlete didn't stumble backward. He didn't lose his balance or fall. He flew, launched through the air like a human missile, traveling 15 feet before crashing through a load-bearing drywall and leaving behind a perfect human-shaped silhouette in the plaster. It looked like something from a cartoon, like Wile E. Coyote running through a wall in a Roadrunner episode. Except this was completely, undeniably real. 200 witnesses saw it happen with their own eyes. High-speed cameras captured every millisecond. Sports scientists and physicists have studied the footage for decades, and none can fully explain what occurred that night using conventional physics models. Las Vegas has never forgotten. This is the complete story of that extraordinary evening. The setup: Caesars Palace Casino, Las Vegas, Nevada, November 18, 1972, Friday night during peak gambling hours when high rollers filled every table and the champagne flowed freely. Bruce Lee had traveled to Las Vegas for a press junket promoting his upcoming film, Enter the Dragon. The movie hadn't been released yet, it was still in post-production, but the Hollywood buzz surrounding the project had reached unprecedented levels. Warner Brothers had invested $850,000 in the production, an enormous sum for a martial arts film in that era. The studio executives needed their star to prove he could deliver audiences. Casino owner Tony Romano had arranged this special demonstration as a personal favor to the Warner Brothers brass. "Show Vegas what you can do," they told Bruce. "The entertainment capital of the world wants to see real martial arts, not movie magic or camera tricks. Give them the genuine article." Bruce agreed to the demonstration, but he established one non-negotiable condition: "I'll demonstrate one technique, one time, with one volunteer selected from your audience. No rehearsal, no preparation, no safety equipment. Pure demonstration of raw reality. Take it or leave it." They accepted his terms. The venue was Caesars Palace Main Ballroom, a massive room stretching 200 feet in length and 80 feet in width, with a vaulted ceiling rising 40 feet overhead. Crystal chandeliers, each worth $50,000, hung throughout the space, casting prismatic light across imported Italian red velvet carpet. Gold leaf trim covered every surface. Genuine Carrara marble columns shipped directly from Italy supported the upper levels. This was Vegas opulence at its absolute maximum, no expense spared. The casino invited their highest-tier guests, gamblers who routinely wagered millions in a single evening, celebrities staying at the hotel, professional athletes visiting the city. These were people who'd experienced everything money could buy, people nearly impossible to impress. Frank Sinatra occupied front row center, the chairman of the board himself, Vegas royalty, part owner of the casino. Elvis arrived briefly, staying about 20 minutes before departing for his own show scheduled later that evening, curiosity drawing him to see Bruce in person. Muhammad Ali watched from a private balcony box, preferring to avoid crowd attention. Dean Martin and Sammy Davis Jr. represented the Rat Pack. Tom Jones, who was performing at Caesars that month, attended. Steve McQueen flew in specially from Los Angeles, Bruce's personal training partner who wanted to witness the demonstration firsthand. This assemblage represented Vegas royalty, entertainment legends, all curious, all fundamentally skeptical. They'd seen every magician, every illusionist. David Copperfield was performing down the Strip. Siegfried and Roy had their show at the Mirage. Lance Burton, the amazing Jonathan, illusionists and performers filled every casino. Was Bruce Lee just another Vegas act? Another performer selling fantasy to tourists? The challenge. Physics professor speaks up. The demonstration concept seemed deceptively simple. Bruce would perform the one-inch punch, a classic Wing Chun technique and his signature move. However, most people in attendance had never witnessed it, didn't understand the mechanics, and considered it purely mythological, a Chinese fairy tale, an exaggeration from kung fu movies. A physics professor in the audience voiced his skepticism loudly. Dr. Kenneth Walsh, an MIT graduate with 3 advanced degrees who taught at UNLV and had authored a classical mechanics textbook used in universities nationwide, couldn't contain his professional objection. "You cannot generate meaningful force from 1 inch of distance," he announced to those around him. "Force equals mass times acceleration, Newton's second law, basic physics. 1 inch doesn't provide sufficient distance for acceleration. The time interval is too brief. This is showmanship, not science, entertainment, not education. Prove me wrong." Bruce addressed the packed crowd. 200 people crammed into the ballroom beyond recommended capacity, causing the fire marshal considerable concern. The casino had sold tickets at $100 each, expensive for the era, officially designated as a charity event, with all proceeds supporting a local children's hospital. Good publicity, good karma, and a tax deduction for the casino. "I need a volunteer," Bruce announced clearly. "Someone large, someone strong, someone athletic, someone who doesn't believe this technique works, someone who thinks I'm a fraud. Step forward and prove me fake." Hands shot up throughout the room. Dozens of men volunteered, eager to expose what they assumed was an illusion. Vegas loved unmasking frauds, revealing tricks, exposing magicians. That was half the entertainment. Bruce walked through the crowd slowly, examining potential volunteers individually. He checked their size, stance, body language, attitude, eyes. This wasn't random selection, it was strategic, psychological. Finally, he stopped directly in front of one massive man and pointed. "You, what's your name?" "Jack the Boulder Morrison." The nickname had been earned honestly. Morrison was a former NFL linebacker who'd played 3 seasons for the Dallas Cowboys from 1968 to 1970 before being released. Not retired, released, terminated. He'd been too aggressive, too violent, generating unnecessary roughness penalties every single game, costing his team yards, victories, and money. The Cowboys finally decided he was more liability than asset. Now Morrison worked as head of casino security, essentially an enforcer who broke legs for unpaid gambling debts, intimidated card counters, scared away cheaters, removed troublemakers, and made problems disappear permanently. His physical statistics were intimating. 6 feet 3 inches tall, 250 pounds of pure muscle with approximately 6% body fat. He worked out 4 hours daily, bench pressed 400 pounds, squatted 600 pounds, deadlifted 700 pounds. He considered himself invincible, untouchable, unbreakable. "I'll take your punch," Morrison announced loudly, his voice booming across the ballroom as he puffed out his chest and crossed his massive arms. "This is your secret weapon? This is what terrifies people? A 1-inch tickle? My grandmother hits harder than this. This is comedy." The audience laughed with him, nervous laughter, entertainment laughter. This was Vegas theater, high-stakes comedy, an expensive joke at $100 per ticket. Bruce explained the principle patiently, like a teacher addressing students. "Power doesn't come from distance. That's a common Western misconception. It comes from structure, from whole-body connection, from the ground through to the fist as one unified system. Not arm strength, not shoulder strength, not chest strength, not individual muscles working separately. Whole-body strength, integrated strength, systematic strength. You'll feel the entire impact, all of it, with nowhere to dissipate, nowhere to absorb, nowhere to escape. Direct transmission, pure transfer. Understand?" Jack smirked mockingly. "Sure, Bruce, whatever you say. Just throw your little punch so we can all move on to the real entertainment." The moment before, Bruce positioned himself with absolute precision. Right foot forward, left foot back, feet shoulder-width apart. Knees slightly bent, never locked, weight perfectly balanced at 50-50 distribution. Fist exactly 1 inch from Jack's chest, centered over the solar plexus, the sternum, right above the heart and diaphragm. His breathing remained steady, slow, deep, calm, controlled, focused with laser intensity. Yet paradoxically, he wasn't tense, wasn't aggressive, wasn't angry. Relaxed power, soft strength, a coiled spring, compressed energy. The audience fell completely silent. 200 people, nobody talking, nobody moving, nobody breathing, nobody blinking. 200 people stood frozen, paralyzed, jaws dropped, eyes wide, minds blank, simply staring at the human-shaped hole in the wall where Jack used to be standing, where a solid wall used to exist, where physics used to make sense. Someone finally ran to the hole, the casino manager, Tony's nephew. He looked through, peered into the service corridor. Jack lay there 15 feet, measured later with laser precision, flat on his back, sprawled spread eagles staring up at the fluorescent lights above. He was conscious but profoundly stunned, aware but profoundly confused. He couldn't